Assalamu alaikum fam, hope you're doing well. I had a recent experience that really got me to thinking about some things that I need to share with you that I think are very important for the Muslim community. So, as you know, you can get an exemption from the ouchie ouchie, right? Let's just put it that way. So, I went above and beyond to prove that I qualify for a religious exemption from the ouchie ouchie, right? The thing is, the person who had the final say was a liberal atheist. Without revealing too much information, it was denied. And what made me lose a little bit of patience was I literally told the person, listen, you and I both know I qualify for the religious exemption. I've proven to you beyond a reasonable doubt that I have a sincere conviction and that I have both a medical reason not to get it because I want to keep my body prime and not put anything in it that would jeopardize a pregnancy because I never know when I would get pregnant. You know, I said that because you never know, one day, get married, want to have a baby right away, you never know. But I gave all these reasons, right? And I even said, like, I pray my 5 prayers a day. I took pictures of all my hadith books. I said, listen, I'm a serious person. I'm not just trying to hide behind religion and use it to get out of the Fauci ouchie, right? And still, this freaking person was just not listening. And then I started saying directly, like, well, I think what you're doing is illegal. I think what you're doing is you're enforcing your political agenda of segregation and oppression on the religious class because you're filled with paranoia and you're riddled by fear and you don't value liberty. You support abortion, but you won't allow me to refuse fluids being forcibly ejected into my body. And then I went into like all these different points, right? Overwhelming evidence. But this liberal atheist simply was like, denied. So I condensed it down not to reveal too many details because I'm still figuring out how I can win it. But this is my whole point, is that we need, as an ummah, to get into positions of power and authority so that we cannot be oppressed, so we cannot be discriminated against. Because if you prove your religious stance, if someone's a liberal atheist and they're like this progressive and, you know, a secularist, and they completely hate your religion, number one, they see you're devout. You want something that, you know, you don't worship the lab coats, they do. And even worse, in America, if you don't go with everything the left wants, whatever they include under their banner, they viciously hate you. And if you live in a blue area and you go against what they want, they heavily oppress you and they hate religion. So this liberal atheist being in a position of power where they get to decide if a religious person gets a religious exemption is pretty brutal because, number one, they already don't like you. Two, it was like they enjoyed what they were doing, right? I could tell there was a little bit of playing there. So we have to prepare, fam. We have to have people in in all fields. Like, you can't have just Muslims in engineering or computers or such. We need you everywhere because we have to have each other's backs. Because I told them, like, I have something that I'm about to complete. You're in the way because you're preventing me because I don't want to get a passport. I don't want to do that. I don't have to. It has an over 80% survival rate. I'm not in the category. I don't want it. And it's like they don't want to budge. And to me, it felt like, what kind of world are we living in? You can abort as many babies as you want, and you're never allowed to tell a liberal or a progressive or a Democrat, these secular atheists, these human rights people, that's wrong. You shouldn't have abortion, and it's even worse if you have 2, 3, or 4, right? So it's like this paranoia, this delusion that is existing of like, you cannot disobey us. We get to control your body. We get to put whatever we want into you against your will, and if you don't, we're gonna put pressure on you and get in your way and stuff like that. And if we had more religious people in different positions where they could give each other exemptions just from this thing, it would help. We can't get into too much because of censorship and everything like that. But we have to make more entrepreneurs. We have to really start fixing how we help each other, what our goals are, what we're doing. Because I think that if too many of the Ummah don't get their feet in different doors, and we only focus on narrow things, the literal world we live in, we will be at the will of others, and we'll be outnumbered, we'll be oppressed, and we're gonna have a problem here. That's why I think it's absurd, like, where we're going. And the thing is I'm not gonna discriminate against any person who refuses to put anything in their body that they don't want. If you can drink yourself to death and no one's allowed to tell you to stop, and that's called freedom, I don't feel like I have the right to say, hey, there's something that more than 80% people survive from. You don't want to get it? Okay, you know, we all know the reasons why many don't want to get it, because of, you know, what they hide. But this is precarious. This is why I tell people to read, to learn, to expand, because you have to know what's going on in politics. You have to know what's going on with, you know, with different industries. Like, we have to be aware, fortified, steadfast, strong, and such. And I used different laws against this person. I was like, oh, section this, this, and that. And then they shot back some, and then I went back some. So we're having a bit of a legal battle here. And it's like, dang, you know, it's like you have to have steadfastness when you're being pushed. And it's hard to figure out how to word it in a way where you're like, oh, you know, get to where the hammer won't come down. But we need people in different positions. We need people in different walks of life doing different things. And we have to own businesses. We have to be independent. We have to own our food supplies. We have to make sure we get, you know, clean water to certain areas. We have to have our own communities, our own economy. Because that's the only way you can be free to really practice your faith. And we can't give up and retreat and not hold the line. You hold the line and expand. You hold the line and fortify. So, this experience that I went through, it's just like... And I did get a little bit tart with this person, but in a respectful, calm way. You know? I did say some harsh words, you know? I even told that person, you know what, I'm going to fast for 7 days. I'm going to pray my 5 salah. I'm going to ask God to punish you. I know how that sounds. They probably like, as an atheist liberal, they're probably like, ah. But I really felt it. And then I said, you know, La ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. It's hard to explain. I don't want to reveal too much. But it was a tense thing where I was like, what you're doing is wrong. And I could see that what they're doing it for a reason. It was like real bias there. And I called them out, and, you know, they just kept doing this clinical liberal approach. There's something about California liberals, man. They are the most manipulative people you'll ever meet. The doublespeak, the smiling but clinical language, and the sense of like they are superior to you because they deny God, because of, you know, their political party. The just smugness that you're just like, why were you being this way? It doesn't hurt you. Just give me my exemption. You know I qualify. You know, like, I've already proven it. Like, why are you denying it? So they get pleasure off of it. Like, they like watching us backwards religious people squirm. That's why we have to fortify ourselves. You know? Even though everyone can disagree on certain points, right? But at the end of the day, the religious communities, all of us, have to enforce religious respect. We can't just let ourselves be ruled by the Darwinists. That's not going to create a pretty reality. Because any person who's going to worship the state and worship lab coats as the new clergy, they will justify anything in the name of what their scientists have discovered, what their scientists feel is right. We have to be careful, and we have to understand that certain things can be manipulated, certain data can be manufactured. There's a lot of pay to play, there's a lot of corporate sponsors and find the results we want type of play going on. Other things that can't even be said openly. But we have to make sure that we have people, hiring Muslim, buying Muslim, and really helping each other out, because if we don't do it, we're going to have a problem. It doesn't mean you do it with just any Muslim if you don't want to, but at least do it with your friends and family and the people you like. Really have each other's backs. It's wrong, man. What's happening now is wrong. And I'm not going to comply. There's going to be some repercussions because of it, but I feel like resisting is going to be worth it, because if you know what's on the other side, if you do get it, it's a gamble. And I just really want people to recognize where we are in America, and however you are where you are, we have to expand in different markets. Telecommunications, culinary arts, business, finance, transportation, whatever it is. We have to create really good networks for people to have support in case they get oppressed by a liberal atheist who definitely wants to oppress. Definitely wants to oppress. So be careful out there, fam. Okay? I learned a lot from this exchange that I had with this person. It's a big reason why we have to help each Muslim community survive wherever they are across the world.